Hello viewers, you're welcome to Nisike Academia, and if you've not subscribed, please do well to hit the subscribe button, and so you can be able to get notifications of our subsequent videos. Now in this video we are going to be looking at how to transform yourself from an F grader to an A grader, like having an F grade to having an A grade. I know I'm talking to people who may have failed one course or the other, either in the secondary school, high school, or of course in the university. I'm also someone who, one way or the other, one period of my life in my academics have failed. All right, but one thing I was able to understand is that there are methods that can actually solve every problem. There is no problem that do not have any solution. Okay, so I was able to apply these steps that I'm going to be listing out to you, practical steps, and they changed my life, all right, academically. So now the first step that you're supposed to employ is, number one, having a positive mindset. Now you cannot achieve anything in life if you are negative in your thinking. Instead of telling yourself that you have nothing to offer, or you are not good, you are not going to improve, you are not going to make it, instead of telling yourself things like that, how about telling yourself that you can get better if you put in work? By the time you start speaking positive things to yourself, making positive statements to yourself, you gradually see yourself improving academically. And it's not something that would actually happen by magic. You have to put in work, like I said earlier. Now, number two, you have to be able to identify the reason why you're failing. You have to ask yourself why. Okay, the one solid step, one first step to actually solving a problem is by knowing why that problem is actually existing. All right, so you can ask yourself, is it that you've not been attending classes? Number two, is it that you do not understand the subject or course? Or number three, is it that you always wait till you see exam timetable, you always wait till exam before you start studying? Once you've been able to ask yourself these questions and identify the actual problem, why you're failing, it will help you. So once you've been able to ask yourself these questions, why, all right, you try as much as possible to attend classes if you've not been attending classes. Number two, you try as much as possible to sit in the front row. Okay, get the front seat. Now, one thing you need to understand that is actually a benefit of actually sitting in front is that you get to hear the lecturer or the teacher clearly, all right, and you get to see, of course, the write-ups on the board and any illustration also clearly. All right, and of course, sitting in front keeps you focused. That's just the truth. All right, keeps you more focused. It limits you of distractions, although in some cases you can also be distracted. Distraction is also something that is personal. If you want to be distracted, you'll be distracted. If you choose not to be distracted, you will not be distracted. Then of course, if you always wait till you see exam timetable before you start studying, maybe try as much as possible to start studying early, at the beginning of the semester or at the beginning of the term. All right, you start studying early and you ask questions, all right, where you're having issues. But even before that, now you might not have even read, all right, but when you attend classes, try as much as possible to take down notes. Don't say your brain is computer, it is entering, I don't need to write. Take down notes. The one who writes have been able to record things than the one who did not write, because you will always have a way of referring back to what you penned down. All right, so it's important to take down notes, even if you don't understand yet. Take down notes. All right, then of course, like I said, ask questions. If you are the shy type that you don't really have that courage, okay, probably you're an introvert who don't have that courage to ask questions in class. All right, how about waiting when the lecture is done? Then you meet the lecturer, and if the lecturer is the one who is student friendly, you meet the lecturer and you ask the lecturer that question that you had probably when the lecturer was teaching you did not understand. All right, so the next step is to read smart, not just long. All right, you don't really have to read so hard. You don't really have to stress your brain for so long, reading for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. I know, yes, there are people who have things that work for them. There are people who read for just 2 hours and they've been able to understand. There are people who read for 10 hours, and the people who read for 10 hours have still understood the things as much as those who have read for just 2 hours. You need to actually know what works for you. But the bottom line is that don't stress your brain too much. Your brain is not supposed to be stressed. All right, so you don't have to say because people are reading for 8 hours, you have to read for 8 hours. Sometimes you just find yourself sleeping and wasting the whole time. So read smart, not hard. not long. All right, so how do you start? You start by, first of all, having an effective timetable. All right, set a timetable for yourself. Set schedules in the day of when you would actually be convenient. Okay, when you actually be convenient and when you actually be okay to read. Time that is very convenient for you. All right, I know there is nothing that works in your comfort zone, so don't just be too comfortable. But even at that, look for a time that works for you. Look for a time that works for you. All right, discipline yourself to follow up with that time, and after you have done that, the next thing is to start with the subject that you find difficult. Okay, start with the difficult subject. All right, start with the subject that you struggle with the most. You don't have to be too scared of it. All right, don't start by being scared of the subject. Just understand that, okay, this is a subject that I struggle with, and after you've been able to understand that this is the subject you've been struggling with, you start with that. Then start also, after you have done that, start also by looking at your notes. All right, you need to have notes from class. Remember, I told you that you have to take down notes. All right, so get your notes for that particular course, get textbook for that particular course or subject, and go through it. All right, go through it, and don't just look at the notes. All right, don't just look at the notes, try and explain it to yourself. All right, it's not a movie that you'll be reading through, or you'll be looking, or you'll be staring at. All right, so try as much as possible to look at it, read it, and explain it to yourself. Now, there is a possibility that you will not understand every aspect of it, which is okay. All right, but you need to get the aspects where you understand and explain what you have understood to yourself. Okay, when you've been able to explain what you understood to yourself, it will give you the understanding that yes, you've been able to paint a picture of what you've read in a way that you can see and perceive clearly. All right, so your perspective or your perception of it would actually help you also to understand that particular thing you have read better. Then another thing is that read for its given period and also rest. All right, rest your brain. Like I said, don't stress your brain. You can read for like 40 to 15 minutes, then you rest for like 10 minutes. It will definitely help you. It will definitely help to secrete more hormones that will facilitate it. We have the oxytocin, we have the dopamine, and we have the serotonin. These are happy hormones. All right, so if you end up stressing your brain so much, you end up secreting adrenaline, which is epinephrine, noradrenaline, which is not epinephrine, which are also called stress hormones. All right, so it's very important to understand that. Now, another thing is this: you would find yourself in a situation whereby you may not be understanding what you have read clearly. Ask for help. All right, ask for help. Join serious students. All right, serious colleagues of yours, people who you've actually realized that okay, these are the ones that one way or the other they have the same goal. They are as goal driven as you are to actually change your situation. Those people who already are good graders, okay, don't envy anyone. Don't be jealous of anyone. If you want to grow, okay, meet people who are ahead of you. Be able to identify that yes, this person is ahead of me, and meet that person for help. Don't be too proud to ask questions. All right. In order for you to actually help yourself, you have to reduce any form of ego. Any form of ego that you have. You have to humble yourself. You have to be meek to ask questions, and of course it will help you seek from people who you're older than, seek for people who are older than you. When it comes to acquiring knowledge, age is just a number. Age is just a number. All right, because at that point in time you are deficient of that knowledge. Once you sum up courage and once you drop any form of pride and you ask questions for a very long period of time, in fact for eternity, you would always know that particular thing. It cannot be taken away from you because you've been able to ask questions. All right, so the next thing is to talk to your teacher. Like I said, talk to your teacher or lecturer. All right, if you read and you still don't understand, you can also find a way, meet probably another teacher or another lecturer who is actually in that field of expertise. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Always try to source for information, source for knowledge, source for understanding from different persons, especially when they are very knowledgeable about what you don't understand. All right, so the next thing is to use, of course, online platforms. All right, use YouTube. There are lots of videos that cuts across different disciplines on YouTube. Use YouTube to actually learn better. Watch documentaries. All right, they also help you read notes online. They also help you read journals for better explanation. All right, then another thing is this: Very, very important. And of course, it's one thing that really transformed my life. Teach it. All right, teach it. Engage in study sections where you can teach a group of persons. The thing I always tell people, the thing is that when you teach a particular thing, you learn it twice. Teaching is learning twice. Just imagine you find yourself in a position where you have to teach a group of persons a particular thing. When you're studying, you will not just study for passing exams. You will study to know. Alright, and that's one thing a lot of students do not understand. When they are studying, they want to pass exam. The truth is that when you study to actually know, when you study to actually gain that knowledge, it cannot be taken away from you. And I always tell myself before every exam that no matter where the lecturer wants to set questions from, as long as he will set it in line with the scheme for this particular course, I will definitely answer and I will pass. Once you study to know, it builds a certain level of confidence in you that no matter what, you would always want to solve problems that relates to what you have studied. All right, so it is very, very important. All right, so when you have done that, use past exam questions. All right, most exams are usually set in line with previous questions or for previous years. Study with past exam questions and also answer this past exam question. There are some persons that cheat. All right, when they are going through past questions, they will go to the back and check the answers. All right, and they'll be answering with the answers. That will not help you. When you have studied, when you have understood a particular course, all right, go and answer past questions. Mark yourself, grade yourself. The marking should be done when you are already done, when you've already finished answering. Then you can now compare with the answers that have been solved in the past questions and grade yourself. Okay, one thing too is that if you really understood what you actually read, and if you have been able to understand all those questions, you will also be able to spot out when the answers that were provided to those questions in the past questions were provided wrongly. But if you don't know any question that has been answered, you see the answer as correct. All right. But if you actually understand, you'll be able to pinpoint that, no, this answer that was given to this question is not correct, it's incorrect. All right, so actually find yourself in a situation whereby you're always assessing yourself, always questioning yourself, always grading yourself. All right, and gradually you see yourself improving. All right, so you may not move from F to A overnight. It may not happen overnight. It may happen overnight as well. I'm not saying that it cannot happen. It may or may not. But when you find yourself, okay, working smart like this, I don't want to use the word working hard. When you find yourself working smart and you have moved from F and you're expecting an A and you see a C, don't be discouraged. All right, don't see yourself as an utter waste of time and evidence of time wastage. No, don't see yourself as that. All right, celebrate your little wins. All right, you have a C, clap for yourself. Even if no one is clapping, clap for yourself. Clapping for yourself will help you to encourage yourself. All right, and gradually you will see yourself having straight A's in a semester or in a term. All right, so that is that. So these are practical ways that actually helped me in school and still helping me, because there is no end of learning. All right, we are still advancing academically to ensure that we get to the heights that God wants us to get to. So if you find this video interesting, if you find it beneficial, don't hold on to it. All right, share as well, so other persons who are struggling with the academics can also have these practical steps and of course grow. All right, but one thing I will not fail to let you know is that, okay, if you are struggling as well, you have to commit it in the hands of God. You have to pray about it also. Okay, you have to pray about it, and in as much as you have applied these steps, all right, God has to also come in to facilitate that. There's a saying that heaven helps those who help themselves. So you have to apply these steps and God would actually come and finish it off for you, and of course make you soar on eagle's wings, makes you fly on, of course, with very colorful grades and very colorful results. All right, so thank you.